Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, strange things happen in Belarus according to the Ukrainian intelligence services, and I have some doubts, but let's see what these guys are saying. This article comes from Ukrainska Pravda from today, the 14th of November 2022. Belarus announces tender to print 50,000 call-up notices. Now, they say that Belarus is going to try to have a little, how should I put it, camouflaged mobilization or something. Ukraine has obtained information that the military commissariat of Belarus's Brest Oblast has announced a tender to print 50,000 call-up notices before December 31st. The source, General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook, and I'm quoting, "According to the available information, the military commissariat in Brest Oblast has announced a tender to print 50,000 call-up notices. The approximate date for the completion of the order is December 31st, 2022. Well, I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. I think that would be a bad move, but I wonder why. Anybody's going to go into an offensive? I don't think it's going to be either side, which is the American side or the Russian side. Details. Over the course of Monday, which is today, 14th of November, Russian forces carried out missile strikes, 2 missile strikes and 16 airstrikes, as well as 15 attacks using multiple launch rocket systems, MLRS. This is a little update from the front, according to the Ukrainians. Russian forces continued to fire on military and civilian targets. Hope they started using the military word here. Usually it's just civilian targets and schools, kindergarten, hospitals, and the Russians started to say the same thing. I made a video yesterday, and it was a Russian, I think it was Sputnik, Russian media outlet, stating that the Ukrainians used 5 HIMARS missiles to destroy private houses and it was a school. I mean, I haven't read that in a Russian media so far, but it seems like there's going to be a pattern now because they're going to point fingers at one another. All right, on the Slobozhanщina front, Russian forces used mortars, tubed and rocket artillery to fire on areas in and around the settlements of Kharkiv Oblast. On the Kupiansk and Liman fronts, Russian forces deployed various types of artillery to fire on areas in and around the settlements of Berestove, Kislivka, that's in Kharkiv Oblast, and then in Luhansk Oblast, plus Donetsk Oblast. So again, artillery fire. On the Bakhmut front, Bakhmut is one of the 3 directions, according even to the Ukrainians, where the Russians are trying to conduct offensive operations. So on the Bakhmut front, the Russians deployed all types of artillery at their disposal to fire on areas in and around the settlements of Adrivka, Bakhmut, Bakhmutske, and about 5 more in the Donetsk Oblast. And the second one is the Avdiivka front. That's another offensive that was reported by the Ukrainians. On the Avdiivka front, the Russians deployed artillery of various calibers to fire on areas in the vicinity of, and it gives here, Vodyane, Krasnohorivka, Marinka, and that's in Donetsk Oblast. I didn't read anything about tanks. And usually when these guys were mentioning tanks, that meant, at least by a pattern and by comparing with other sources, they are in an offensive operation. Nothing anymore. Yesterday they mentioned, but today they didn't. The same three fronts. Now the third one is Novopavlivka front. Another area, another front where, according to the Ukrainians, Russians are conducting offensive operations. So on the Novopavlivka front, the Russians fired on areas in and around, and he gave here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 settlements, and that's in Donetsk Oblast, using various types of artillery. On the Zaporozhye front, Russian forces fired on areas in and around Huliapole, Zolinche, Malingva, and that is in the Zaporozhye Oblast, using mortars, tube and rocket artillery. On the Kherson front, areas in and around Duchany, Zolota, Balka, Mykolaivka, they have two of them or something, Milove and Chornobaivka, Kherson Oblast, came under Russian fire. And then it says the General Staff has confirmed that Ukrainian forces, let's see what they did, have struck a command post belonging to a unit of occupation troops in the city of Horlivka in Donetsk Oblast, destroying 7 trucks and 2 MT-12 Rapira cannons, damaging 2 MT-LB amphibious tracked armored vehicles and injuring 15 Russian soldiers. Information about the number of Russian soldiers killed in the attack is yet to be confirmed. 15, injuring 15. As I said, I compared this with the Second World War, and this is just no. But anyway, over the past 24 hours, Ukrainian aircraft carried out 17 airstrikes on clusters of Russian military personnel, weapons and equipment. Ukraine's rocket forces and artillery units struck the 2 Russian command posts and 7 clusters of Russian military personnel, weapons and equipment. So, this is in a very short nutshell what's going on over there. I don't hear anything about any, as I said, offensive operations on either side. It doesn't mean it doesn't occur, it's just that they don't report it. Maybe they just getting ready for winter, and we'll find out if they are planning to talk with one another. In the past 2 days, I found many articles, about 4 articles, talking from different media outlets, talking about the possibility of the negotiations, or at least the openness of Ukrainians to negotiate, or at least talk to the Russians without coming with unreasonable expectations, according to not unreasonable, unrealistic, that was the word, unrealistic expectations or demands, which was per Jake Sullivan, the Weasel advisor, senior advisor of the White House. Unbelievable. But anyway, we'll find out. This was another guy who said that, another guy being the chief negotiator of Ukraine, he said that they might be talking Russians with Ukrainians, might be talking only next year, 2023, in the second half of the year, because the election cycle starts in the United States of America and in Russia. Okay, so that's what's at stake, it seems like. Well, when the United States will give the order, Ukraine will obey it one way or another. Otherwise, the guys are gonna pull the plug off, and then that's it. The Russians could do whatever they want. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.